Day 12 on the Silverado. Whew, I'm exhausted. So I got up, I think 10 o'clock this morning. So I got over here about an hour ago. Piece was cured and dried. I routed out the centers and I just test fit it in the truck. Thank God. Everything snapped right in. So there's the piece. I still need to DA it down and sand it smooth from what I did last night, but I got the centers cut out. The covers seem to match up just fine, so I need to embed the magnets into that piece as well. That is a very large piece to mold and not have it get all crazy, warped, and click back in place. So it's very cool, it fits. Now I need to move on. I've hit it with a heavier coat, hit it with heavier texture. When this cures, I'll knock it down, give it just a light sand to knock off any of little spikes, you know, so it doesn't look like a popcorn ceiling. But then once that's laid down, then I can hit it with the primer, then I can hit it with the matching paint. This is what takes so long, all these steps that you have to do. And here's a sneak peek of what's after the truck. This is a build I already did. Pretty big, ridiculous build, tons of power. 2 huge DD12s in there. And what I was afraid was gonna happen, happened, and the customer brought it back because the subs are destroying the enclosure. They're just too much pressure. It's all gotta be reinforced because to change out the box, we require removement of all of this. But on top of that, we're also putting in the new Sony Mobile ES radio. So I have to remove the LC7i, which kind of sucks because that means I have to remove this amplifier, remove this whole panel, because we no longer need the RCAs coming from that. We're gonna be feeding from the head unit. So regardless, this is gonna be a lot of work of going backwards to take stuff apart. The one thing that's the biggest nightmare is that battery, all the wiring. Trying to unhook that to get the panel off is not something I'm looking forward to. So we'll deal with this. This is the next headache. Now, we gotta work on finishing this truck. All right, so while the cover was in there curing, went ahead and got the enclosure ready. We pre-drilled out here and it countersinks these black bolts that'll go there. Reinstalled this. We have our threaded inserts right there. It doesn't need a ton of mounting because once the seats go in, everything just kind of gets squished back here where it all be held in. I just wanted that just so it couldn't tip or do anything silly. We've got our USB hooked up so we can hook up to the laptop for the DSP functions. USB cables ran down to there. It will slide behind the trim, but I can pull it out, plug in my laptop. Ready for the sub box to go in, but we can't put the box in until the cover is on. Once the cover's on, then the box can go in permanently. This is something that all woodworkers or custom shops should have in their arsenal. Dowel rods. If you don't know what dowel rods are, those are those right there. You'll see people use them when they make drawers or cabinets or whatever. So it's to line up 2 pieces of wood. What I care about are the dowel rod centers, which are these right here. Now I have a whole host of them because they come in different sizes. So a dowel rod center is this right here, and it's got a little point on it. Then you get the drill bits and you put the stoppers on them so you don't go any further than you need to. You drill the hole, then you take your little stopper, it goes, or the little center, it goes into the hole. And then when you push your 2 pieces of wood together, this will transfer a little divot on the other side so you know exactly where center is. They work great for magnets. So if you need to know where your magnets need to line up, these are the size of my magnets. So I put these centers on there, make sure it's the same radius as the magnet all the way around. I'll go and I'll set this on the cover, press down. That's gonna leave little divots where those magnet centers are. Then I know exactly where to drill out my little shallow holes in the other piece to drop the magnets in so it can click together. Now I know that explanation sounded really dumb because I'm very tired, but you get what I'm saying. So those are amazing. Again, if you want to know what they're called, they are called dowel centers, but they're awesome for lining up things. I use them all the time. So the cover is almost dry. It's pretty well dry. There was just a couple little spots like right here that I don't like, so I'm letting it bake. I've got it up to like 98 in here. So there, that's the piece. So what I'm gonna do next, this is the bottom. So these little imperfections, doesn't matter, you're never gonna see them. But what I'm gonna do, once this is totally dry, is go over the top lightly with sandpaper to knock down any little rough high spots like that. And that will create a texture. It'll be a slight texture to it, and that texture will come pretty close to matching what the factory texture is. That's this, so this is almost ready to go in the other room. I'll knock it down. Once I knock it down, I gotta hit it with the primer. Once I hit it with the primer, then I can hit it with the color match. The reason I gotta hit it with the primer is if I go over that black with the color match, it changes the shade of the gray. It's supposed to be a factory match pewter, and it won't be, so I gotta hit this with a gray primer, then I can hit it with the factory match. As you can see, the massive amount of steps it takes just for a simple piece like that. The reason I'm putting so much effort into that piece is pretty much what people will see. So I'm trying to make this look like a lot of fabrication was done and effort was put in to make it aesthetically stay in the same area, but change the shape completely so that he knows work was done, and I went out of my way to try and make it disappear but not disappear, if that makes any sense. I'm gonna get back to work. Finally, it's in. Good Lord. I don't know if I skipped any steps. I just kind of hammered away on it. I just wanted to get it done. But it's in. Not a bad match. I mean, not perfect, but I don't think I could get it perfect as far as color. But the texture and everything looks good. Got the suede. Looks like we got a piece of lint stuck on my suede right there. You may see the screws. Yes, that's because my magnets failed. The magnets were not strong enough to hold. I mean, they were holding, but there was no way they would hold driving down the road or base. I just wasn't even gonna risk it. So I went ahead and did the basically 2 helper screws on each side. So the magnets are clipped, but I added the screws just because it's time to move on. But pretty happy with it. Looks pretty decent, but there it is. And I think I'm gonna go home because it's like 11:45. I could leave before midnight tonight. That'd be amazing. And then tomorrow I will finish up the sub enclosure, get it put in, wired up, do the upholstery, put the seats in, and then I should be able to fire this thing up and be done. Yeah. Tomorrow I believe is day 13. So, finally that's in there. It's just a lot of waiting, cure, paint, dry, texture, dry, resin, dry. It's just so much back and forth. It drives me insane. But I'm gonna get out of here. I'll see you tomorrow.